New Orleans, a city of mystery, a city that 1 million people proudly call home, at least the ones above ground, because New Orleans is also home to many beings that can't find their way back. Watch as our group of paranormal investigators attempt to discover these lost souls. Join us as we explore New Orleans, the most haunted city in America.
Seems that the legend or the folklore about Lafitte's blacksmith shop, had he owned it, is that it was used as cover for a black market operation, which makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that nearly everyone at that time would need the assistance of a blacksmith. Anyone, no matter what walk of life, poor or rich, could go in there, conduct business with a blacksmith, and conduct a dirty deal on the side. Nobody would be the wiser. Perfect cover. But as far as the hauntings that relate to that, people getting tapped on the shoulders, their backside slapped, their hair pulled. There have been items that have just fallen off the ice making machine onto their heads, you know, when they know they've got a rubber mat up there and nothing can slide off. Jason, one of their bartenders, remembers watching a man coming around the front of the bar. And in this particular instance, he's just walked right out the St. Philip Street door. But there's a huge step down right there at that far side of the bar, and this guy just glides on by like it doesn't exist to him. Hell, there's even an incident where they've seen a woman in mourning and dressed in black with a veil. Again, Jason was actually working a double shift. He's actually taking a little nap on the sofa upstairs. He hears footsteps coming up the wooden stairs, peeked out with one eye and sees a woman walk into the room, walks across the floor into the supply closet where they keep a lot of the liquor. Being half asleep, he just kind of went back to sleep and probably realized, wait a minute, that person doesn't work here. They look like they're here for a funeral. Then he walks over to the supply closet. There's no woman in a black dress. Just gone. Now, when they close the place down at night, they leave the intercom system on, so anybody who's up in the office can listen to those who are mopping the floors downstairs, paying attention to what they're doing. They will occasionally hear conversations over this intercom system, but what they don't expect are conversations in French or Spanish, and they often escalate in what sounds like an argument, and it tends to end when you hear what I assume is the sound of a blade escaping from a scabbard. You don't hear it being thrust into the victim, but sometimes you can hear the blood gurgling up in the victim's mouth. So I think what happened was a long time ago, there was a dirty deal going on behind the building. Somebody didn't like the way it was progressing, so they just pinned this guy up against the wall, gutted him right there. And here he is, had his life snuffed out just by trying to conduct a business deal. And I'm going to be a very irate spirit haunting this place for a while. I don't think I could let go of that. So that being said, it's quite possible that there are pirates haunting Jean Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
We're in the back courtyard of MRB, Mississippi River Bottom, one of the preeminent local dive bars in the city of New Orleans. The thing I find most interesting about this place is, like many places in the city of New Orleans, it has had a different past. At one point, apparently, it's kind of hard to tell. I think it's 1840s, 1850s, this place was actually used as a brothel for sailors. We're only about 60 feet away from Decatur Street. Decatur Street at that time was called Levee Street. There was nothing closer to the river than the levee. So we were just approximately 80 feet away from where the ships pulled in. Where's the first place any sailor is going to go to spend his cash money after months at sea? Of course, he's going to find women, he's going to find liquor. There is a young lady who works here. Her name is Marie. Now, Marie, we don't have much of a physical description at all, really. I mean, this is just an old piece of folklore and legend that's handed down time and time and time again. But Marie apparently worked here as one of the young ladies in this establishment. And Marie was given an offer of marriage by a young gentleman, a regular customer of hers, a sailor. Now, this is actually something that was not uncommon in the history of the United States at all. If you think about it, a woman who had no way to control her money, no way to control her life, a bad family at home, she could become a prostitute without any problem at all and make her own cash. And it was a miserable life, and nobody really cared for it. The thing is, though, oftentimes these women would get an offer for marriage from a regular customer. Of course, they'll say, hell yes, I will. And that way they can move elsewhere and become a respectable matron. This is the history of our country most people don't realize. With Marie, however, things were going to take a little bit of a different turn. She accepted the offer of marriage joyfully. Her betrothed went off to the Gulf of Mexico for one more trip to make more money for the wedding, during which time she got her wedding gown made. The other girls were all excited for her. She was excited beyond belief to finally get out of the life that she hated. And then the news came back in that he had died while he was at sea. Now, we don't know if it was a storm or disease or anything could have killed a sailor in the Gulf of Mexico in the 1850s. But Marie was so distraught by what had happened, she put on her wedding gown, came into this area, which, if I'm not mistaken, was used as a stable in the time period, and approximately 2 foot, 3 feet above where I am and slightly in front of me, she hung herself from a beam in her wedding gown. Now, why do I say 2 foot, 3 foot ahead and above me? Because that's where the orbs are seen. I mean huge soap bubble-sized orbs, like a head-sized, hanging in the area where she allegedly hung herself. But the thing that was the creepiest of all, approximately a week or two after that, I'd finished my tour back in this courtyard area. We were all leaving, everybody was gone. One lady was hanging behind. She walked up to me and said, "You might want to see this." She'd taken a picture of me while I was standing over here on the stage. And I was talking about Marie. And standing approximately 4 feet away from me was a completely and utterly visible apparition. Misty, white. But you could see what looked like a white wedding train, and even the hands folded neatly, as she listened to me tell people about how she committed suicide 150 years ago. Can you imagine anything more strange than having the dead listen to you while you tell about how they ended their life? It's the kind of thing that makes you want to get it right.
Stay tuned for more haunted New Orleans.